Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is a lecture in English, obviously, about Verdi's La Traviata, opera written in 1853. And because of copyright issues, we will hear very little of the opera itself. So I'm not gonna kid you on this one. And I'm gonna talk much more about the opera than we're gonna listen to excerpts anyway. So if you would like to hear the opera, I recommend that you go to Ekai's Spotify page. Okay, you go to our link on Spotify. Just type Ekai on Spotify, and I prepared a list there for you so that you can accompany this lecture over there. Okay. You don't need to do it now, but this is so that you know that this is happening, okay? Thank you very much for being here, and I'm very, very glad that you're here. Okay, so this lecture is much more on the background of Traviata than the music itself, okay, for the reasons that I just explained. So let's talk, and then obviously I talk about the plot and the characters, but I want you to understand how Verdi composed La Traviata and what was going on in the world at the time, so that it makes sense for you, because that's something that I'm always very concerned about, is that people say, oh, I don't like opera. Usually people that don't like opera, it's not because you're dumb. Honestly, you know, I think that people that don't like opera is because they don't understand what is going on, and that is totally fine. Normally, theaters don't do an enormous effort in trying to make it understood. Okay, subtitles are not enough. You have to understand the tradition itself. Okay. And that's why I am here. This is kind of a weird lecture, but let's go there. Those of you who have watched my lectures know that I'm a little bit out there, okay? And I'm very proud of that. So, let's talk a little bit about La Traviata. The opera was composed in 1853, but why did Verdi write La Traviata in 1853? We have to go back a little bit so that you can understand that. There was a glorious play, a glorious book in French called La Dame aux Camélles. I cannot pronounce it to save my life. And in English, the title is Camille. In Portuguese is A Dama das Camélias. Anyway, this book was written in 1848 by Alexandre Dumas fils. And who is Alexandre Dumas fils? A great French writer and playwright who was the son of Alexandre Dumas père. Okay, of course. Dumas père, the father, was black. Did you know that? He was the son of a French general who went to Haiti, and there he met a black woman who was enslaved from Africa and brought to Haiti. And Dumas fils was born of Dumas père was born of this relationship between the French general and black woman in Haiti. Okay. Not many people know that, okay? You have to understand that it's not everybody who's comfortable with the fact that Alexandre Dumas père was black, okay? That's kind of confusing, okay? Because what did Dumas père wrote? The Count of Monte Cristo? I'm sorry, my English is very rusty. He wrote the Three Musketeers. So the father, Alexandre Dumas' father, is all about, you know, royalty and swords and musketeers and all that sort of adventures and all of that, okay? The son, I mean, to make it more complicated, Alexandre Dumas' fils is born out of wedlock. Okay, hello, Alexandra. Good to see you from Kotor, Montenegro. How are you doing? Good to see you. Anyway, so what we're talking here is a clash of worlds. Alexandre Dumas' fils writes Camille, La Dame aux Camées, inspired by his own life. Okay, he fell in love with basically a prostitute, Madame Duplessis, and he writes this play. He writes first the book. The book is so a novel becomes so famous that he writes a play afterwards, Camille, which opens in 1852, and Verdi watches it, and Verdi says this is phenomenal, and he decides to write an opera on it called La Traviata. Okay, why is that remarkable? Because it's not a usual subject for an opera in the 1850s. People are used to greatness. People are used to great romances and kings and all of that. And suddenly there's a prostitute on stage. Not only the fact that she's a prostitute, the fact that she is the heroine of the play. Okay, she is, I mean, the character with the greatest character, okay, with the best character is Violetta, okay, which in the novel she's called Marguerite Gautier, and in Verdi's play she becomes Violetta Valérie, okay. Anyway, so this is the background. Verdi chooses this play to set it to music because he loved difficult relationship with the censorship. Verdi was a politician. He was a senator, okay, at some point in his life. He was a farmer at some point in his life. So he was a man of the 19th century. He was deeply rooted in the 19th century. He's a citizen of the 19th century, of the Romantic period. And that's why he chooses Rigoletto based on Le Roi s'amuse by Victor Hugo. And also very complicated. The Masked Ball by Verdi is also very complicated subject about a king who's killed, okay? So, and he has to change it to a governor who's killed. So it's all very complex, okay? The material is very complex. And complex in the sense of society. And what is Verdi trying to tell you with La Traviata? Not you, but what, if you were in 1853, what would Verdi be trying to tell you? He would say, look, you're hypocritical. Like that person sitting on your left side and on your right side, everybody's hypocritical. The audience is hypocritical. We're all hypocritical. We all live through hypocrisy. This is what La Traviata is about, okay? In the first act, we open with the violins in the orchestra, which suggests that Violetta is dying of tuberculosis. How I know that? Because I read the book. Everybody in the audience, before they sat through the La Traviata, they had already read the book, Camille. They had already watched the play, Camille. So when they sit there to watch La Traviata, they know everything that's going on. So when the overture starts, they already know that tragedy, stroke, and it killed Violetta. There's this good theory, I like it very much, that La Traviata, the whole play is on flashback, is a flashback. So the opening, the overture, shows the present, which is Violetta is dying. And then the first act, as the first act begins, we go back in time to a party. I can't play because of copyright, unfortunately. But it's a great party at Violetta's house, okay? She has money. All the men she slept with had given her some serious money, so she has this little palace, in Paris, and she throws parties and all of that. It's great music. It's fantastic music. It's the height of waltz and, you know, parties and absinthe and all that. Anyway, in this party, she meets Alfredo. Liviamo negli eti calici della bellezza infiora. They sing the same music. Everybody knows this music. It's the brindisi, the toast in La Traviata. That's where Violetta and Alfredo meet. And it's tragic. Why? Because she is a courtesan. You have to go to the dictionary to know that. Okay, what that is? Not a courtier, a courtesan. Okay? She sells her body for money, basically. Okay? And she is also older. Okay? She's like 30 or something. Oh my God, an old woman. Okay? So she's 30 or something, a mature woman at the time. And Alfredo is a young lad. Okay, he's hot and he's rich and he is delicious, and they fall in love, and it's tragic. It couldn't have happened, but it did. Okay, you know, those of you who fell in love know how tragic it is, right? Love is one thing, falling in love is another thing, completely different. That's what happens with this couple. It's tragic because they obviously cannot be together. They cannot. Society would never allow that to happen. Okay? And that's what the part of the hypocrisy that I was saying in the beginning. Okay? Everybody knows it. The audience knows it. The character knows it. Everybody. Okay? It's tragic. That's why it's tragic. After the toast, where they meet and they, whoa, wow, she's hot. Wow, he's hot and all that. They stay together. Everybody goes for dinner or something, and they stay together alone, and they sing the duet. Undi felice eterea miba, etc. And they sing and they love each other. Ah, it's the best thing on earth. And she tells, bring this flower back to me when it's withered away. Okay, and he says, oh my God, tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow, that's fine. So that's the love duet. Croce, croce delizia, delizia al cor. Cross and delight, yeah, cross and delight. That's what love is, according to the Romantic period. Remember, the Romantic period, everybody has to suffer. If you don't suffer, it's because you're not living right, according to the Romantic period. Okay? So tuberculosis is perfect for the Romantic period. It's perfect for the 19th century because everybody will die. And Violetta has tuberculosis. Okay? Right in the beginning, we know she's like... she's coughing and she has tuberculosis. So we know from the beginning that she's gonna die and that this romance is gonna suck, okay? And that's what it is, okay? Anyway, they are in love, there's this duet, and then everybody leaves. The party is over, okay, dawn, 6 a.m. or something, and Violetta is alone in her little castle, in her little palace in the middle of Paris, and she sings... Estrano, estrano, oh how weird, sono abbandonata in questo popoloso deserto che appellano Parigi. I'm alone in this deserted place full of people, okay, which they call Paris, okay. That's part of the reason why Verdi had problem with censorship. He placed it in Paris in present time for them, so he had to remove the time. It's very funny. For the opening, he had to say that this was like 1600s. Otherwise, they wouldn't let him open. Believe in that? Censorship is cool. A lot of fun. Anyway, so she's alone and she sings this amazing aria. Sempre libera de Gio. Madness, madness, I'm in love. This is never gonna work, but alas, but she's in love. And then in the end, obviously, we have all these high notes. Pam, 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 and the curtain falls. That's the end of the first act. A masterpiece. The first act of La Traviata. Listen to it a million times and learn how music is made. Learn how theater is made, because that is theater. Okay? It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. What Verdi accomplishes in the first act of La Traviata is no joke. I am telling you, he's a master. Bravo, Verdi. And then the second act comes, and it's hard. It's difficult because it's a long act where there's not a lot of action in the sense of movement, but that's the crux of the dramatic action in the play. That's where the tension is. Why, you may ask, and I will answer. Well, the first act is in Violetta's house. There's a party. Alfredo and Violetta meet each other. They fall in love. Oh, I love you. Second act, Violetta is in her house by the woods or something. Okay, my English sometimes it blocks. I can't remember expressions. Okay, anyway, she's in the country. Okay. And because she's trying to recover from her slight tuberculosis. Okay, it's never going to happen, but alas, she's there. And they're in love, and they moved there, and you know, they're making out all the time. And then the bell rings. Ding dong, who is it? It's Giorgio German. And who is Giorgio German? It's Alfredo's father. Ah! Alfredo's father shows up, and he tells Violetta, he says, "Hi, Violetta. You know who I am? I am Alfredo's father. I am very sorry to let you know, but you have to get away from my kid, okay? You are a prostitute. We all know that. And this is not the kind of, you know, the kind of profession that will go along with my family. I'm very sorry. Your line of work doesn't work very well with Parisian society. And therefore, I kindly request that you separate from Alfredo. How much do you want?" And she, "What? How much? You have no idea. I mean, I love your son. And because I love your son, and because I know what you're saying is unfortunately true because this society sucks, I am going to separate from Alfredo because I love him and I mean no harm to him. So if you think I should separate from Alfredo, I will, because I love him, and love can everything." At that point, that is where Verdi and Dumas breaks the knee of the audience, of the hypocritical audience, because he's showing a prostitute who has character. She's honest. She is the real, she's the best person there. She's the greatest person there. And the best thing about Giorgio's, about the Alfredo's father character, is that he recognizes that. So it's phenomenal. The second act is phenomenal. When you have good actors playing it, you cry all the time. You cry because you see a father asking this lady to separate from his kid. And both of them agree that society is hypocritical and that love should reign, but alas, it doesn't. And alas, that's the only thing to do. So it is incredibly sad. And the music to the second act is unbelievable. I can't play it here because it's long And to make sense, it really wouldn't make sense. I would have to play a long part of it, and again, because of copyright, the feed would be cut. That's why I ask you to go to Ekai's Spotify, right? Ekai, E-C-A-I, and find the list that I prepared for you to accompany this lecture and all of our lectures, okay? Anyway, so that's the second act. And then Traviata. Violetta writes a letter to Alfredo and says, Alfredo, sorry, pal, I don't like you anymore. It's not true, but she writes that in the letter, and she says, I'm going away. Sorry. Oh boy, that doesn't work, because Alfredo, a young lad full of hormones and all that, he gets very angry. He gets really pissed off. And he goes after her in the third act. There's some weird way they named the acts. I never understood exactly, but I will call first, second, third, and fourth act. That's not the way Verdi called. He called first and second act, and then third act, first scene. And I'm not going to call that. I apologize. Okay, but recapitulating, we have first act, Violetta's party, where they meet, Alfredo and Violetta. Second act in the country, where Violetta is asked by Giorgio Germont, Alfredo's father, to abandon his kid, and she does it. And then we get to the third act, where there's a party. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, here it is. Party! Woohoo! It's lots of fun, and it's high speed, and it's funny, and lots of drinks and wine, and the ladies are dressed as gypsies, and the guys are just dressed as the bullfighters. Oh, that's why. So you have all this fun thing. And why? Because again, that's the romantic period. Contrast, okay? They break your leg. The moment you're very happy because, oh my God, look at these gypsies and bullfighters and everything. All these jokes going on and all of that. Who shows up in the party? Who? Alfredo, you here. What the heck are you doing here? Violetta just, she says she can't stay with you, okay? Why are you here? And he's there because he wants her to suffer. Hormones, young hormones, okay? Macho. So Alfredo's like, what? This woman thinks she is hot stuff. What? I'm hot stuff. I'm going to tell her. And there's this scene which is horrible. It's phenomenal music, but the scene is very, it's almost violent, where Alfredo wins some money in the game there. There's a whatever, a poker table or something. He wins some money and he throws at Violetta, suggesting that he's now paid for her favors. And obviously that is, although everybody knows that she's a prostitute or courtesan, that is very shocking, because we're talking about society here. So everybody's shocked at how Alfredo does it. He's a gentleman. He should not do that. He should not humiliate a lady in front of everybody. And who shows up at that moment exactly? Alfredo's father, Giorgio. Disprezzo sdegno. Oh, how horrible that you do this. You can't do this to a lady. I didn't teach you that. Now, this is what is really phenomenal about this opera. Giorgio told Violetta to get away from Alfredo. But when Alfredo offends her, Giorgio shows some real civility, and he says, you can't humiliate her. She's better than this. You're better than this. I didn't raise you to do that. So it's really amazing that Verdi is telling everybody in the audience, not only on stage, but she's telling everybody in the audience, you're crap. You're worth nothing. You're hypocritical. Look at this lady here, center stage. She is the best person in this theater. Okay? And that's some guts. I'm telling you. Gutsy guy. Gutsy guy. And that's the end of the third act, what I'll call the third act. And we go to the last act where we arrive and we are back at Violetta's house, and she is... Remember when I talked in the beginning of this lecture when I said that the overture to La Traviata is kind of a flashback? We're there again, okay? 2.5 hours went by, and now we're in Violetta's bedroom, and she's dying of tuberculosis. So it's a very sad ending, but there's, because we are in a romantic opera, there's some hope, okay? And what goes on here? Violetta's reading a letter. There's a violin. The violin is there, and she's reading. She's saying, "Oh my God." She's reading Giorgio's letter. Giorgio is Alfredo's father, and Giorgio sent a letter saying, "Violetta, everything is gonna be fine. Alfredo knows what you did for him, and you two are gonna get back together, and everything is gonna be fine." And obviously, she finishes the letter and she says, "È tardi." It's too late, because she knows she's dying. And the very short last act is, it's about 15 minutes long. Alfredo shows up. "Oh, Violetta, we're gonna be fine." And they sing this duet. Here. "Oh, Violetta, we will, everything is gonna be fine, and we will leave Paris, and we'll have fun, and we'll survive." And she kind of goes along, but she knows she's not there anymore. And that's the end of the opera, when she dies, but not before, obviously. Remember, this is the romantic period. She sings an aria and all of that, and but we know, the audience knows that she's gonna die. So she says, "Oh wait, I feel better. Alfredo showed up, so everything is gonna be fine." But the violins tell no. Chi da da wee, and you kind of hear her soul going up. And there she dies, and the curtain falls, and everybody cries. And it's very sad, because, I mean, the audience is surprised. It's like, oh my God, we have to cry for a courtesan. Wow, amazing, how ballsy. But that's what it is. The best thing you can do to understand La Traviata is go and read the source. Go read Camille, okay? The Lady of the Camilles, okay? Go read Dumas' novel. Or if you want to watch a movie, there's a phenomenal movie with Greta Garbo in it called Camille, A Dama das Camélias. And it's phenomenal. And you see why Greta Garbo was Greta Garbo, okay? Go watch it. It's in black and white. Really phenomenal movie, about 70, 80 years old. 80 years old, something like that. Okay? I hope you enjoyed this lecture. I hope you go to Spotify and listen to our list. And I hope you're back next week for another opera lecture. Okay? Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click like this video. Okay? Thank you very much. Hope to see you soon back here at Ekai's YouTube. Okay? Thank you very much.